The air in Willow Creek was warm and thick with the promise of summer, an invisible blanket draping over neat lawns and pastel-painted homes. It would have been idyllic if not for the persistent hum of petty grievances that buzzed like mosquitoes in the ears of its residents. At the center of this suburban symphony sat the Homeowners Association, a council of self-proclaimed guardians of order, led by Karen, a woman whose wrath was as ferocious as it was misguided. My own little plot of land, modest and tucked away from the prying eyes of those who measured worth in inches of grass and shades of paint, became the unwitting stage for Karen's latest crusade. It began with a letter slipped surreptitiously into my mailbox, its crisp edges contrasting sharply with the handwritten threat of non-compliance. My lawn was exactly 1.5 inches over the mandated height. It seemed nature in all its unruly splendor had defied the order of things. I imagined Karen's satisfaction as she penned the violation notice, her pen scratching against paper like a hawk sharpening its claws. Her need for control was matched only by her impeccable eye for detail, details that conveniently overlooked her own sprawling backyard, where unkempt patches lurked like secrets hidden beneath well-manicured hedges. Quietly, I folded the letter into a paper boat and set it afloat in the bird bath, watching until it became a soggy memory. There was a peculiar peace in defiance that didn't require words or confrontation. My thoughts drifted to Karen's own lawn, immaculate to the untrained eye. Yet the whispers in the neighborhood told a different story, a story of imported grass and concealed violations. The days stretched lazily into weeks, each one a testament to my refusal to bow to the tyranny of lawnmowers and rulers. Underneath, however, a plan began to germinate, a subtle act of rebellion shrouded in calm. I had no interest in direct confrontation. That was Karen's arena. Instead, I found solace in the quiet power of irony. With discretion befitting a spy in a foreign land, I collected samples from the edges of Karen's pride and joy. It was no small feat, slipping unnoticed past her house, feigning admiration for her garden while surreptitiously pocketing evidence. Her grass, emerald, and uniform held secrets that no ruler could measure. Across town, a laboratory awaited, its sterile walls promising answers. I imagined the technician's bemusement at my request, a DNA test for grass. Yet within those blades lay the key to exposing hypocrisy hidden in plain sight. The world didn't tremble beneath my actions. The sun continued its journey across the sky. The breeze carried with it the scent of impending rain. Yet, as I sat on my porch, sipping lemonade and listening to the whisper of leaves, I felt a shift within the confines of Willow Creek. There was a certain beauty in knowing that justice need not be loud or garish. Sometimes it could be quiet, like the rustle of grass beneath a gentle wind. In the distance, Karen's house stood resolute, unaware of the storm brewing beneath its foundation. My heart was calm, my intentions clear. I would wait, patiently, for the truth to unfurl like the petals of a stubborn flower refusing to be pruned. In this tale of lawn and order, irony was my ally, and patience my confidant. I watched as the wind tousled the blades of grass, a sea of green, mocking me with its unruly nature. It was the lawn that had sparked this absurd war with the HOA, not even for its wild beauty, but for its defiance measured in inches. A mere inch taller, they claimed, was a disrespectful gesture toward our neighborhood's pristine order. Their letters arrived as regularly as the morning paper, each more insistent than the last, until they culminated in a threat: eviction. All because my lawn dared to grow beyond its bounds, like a rebellious child testing the patience of its parents. But I knew better. The entire neighborhood was a tapestry of unspoken secrets and whispered gossip, threads woven tightly by the HOA President Eleanor, whose own grass seemed to grow suspiciously obedient. I leaned into the irony of my predicament, finding a peculiar satisfaction in the challenge. While Eleanor's pristine lawn stood as a monument to her power, I prepared to unravel the story beneath its well-manicured surface. The idea came with a sudden clarity: grass, DNA. In the realm of the absurd, it was an elegant solution. I set the plan in motion, gathering samples from her lawn under the cover of night, a silent vigilante armed with nothing more than a pair of scissors and a notion of justice. Days stretched into a tense waiting game, punctuated by the rustle of paper as another HOA citation slipped through my mail slot. Each notice was a reminder of the facade of control they wielded, their rules as flexible as a bend in the road, shifting to suit their convenience. Yet even as the letters multiplied, so did my resolve. The results arrived in an unassuming envelope. Their ordinary exterior belied the weight of revelation within. The DNA analysis was the key, confirming what I'd suspected. The grass on Eleanor's lawn was of an invasive species, one not permitted under the HOA guidelines she so fervently enforced. A delicious irony that lurked beneath her immaculate emerald carpet. I walked through the neighborhood, each step a defiant echo against the concrete path, eyes observing the rhythm of suburban life dictated by Eleanor's rulebook. People whispered, their gazes flickering towards me like the wings of nervous birds. I was a quiet storm, brewing silently, poised at the edge of something monumental. The day I chose to present my findings was unremarkable in every other way. The sky was a muted gray, clouds hanging low like a canopy of secrets waiting to spill. I approached the HOA meeting with a calm that belied the storm within. Here, among the polished smiles and false camaraderie, I would unveil the truth, a revelation wrapped in irony and the scent of freshly cut grass. The room was a tableau of anticipation, each face a mask of curiosity tinged with apprehension. I needed no grand speech, no fanfare, just a single line, delivered with the quiet power of a truth long withheld. Your grass breaks your own rules, the room inhaled collectively. The crack in Eleanor's facade visible in the widening of her eyes, the slight quiver of her perfectly lacquered nails. It was a moment suspended in time, a ripple in the serene pond she had crafted. Now, the scales had tipped. The rules, their absurdity laid bare, wavered in the balance. As I turned to leave, a sense of quiet victory settled over me. The whispers followed, a chorus of speculation, but within them was a note of respect. I had not just defied their rules, I had redefined them. The morning dew glistened on the grass like 1,000 tiny diamonds, each one mocking the chaos beneath their delicate shine. My lawn stood defiantly at precisely 4 inches, the exact height that had spurred the HOA into their petty campaigns. No longer a mere patch of green, it had become my silent protest, a testament to my stubborn resilience. Neighbors began to notice. At first, just curious glances as they passed by, pushing strollers or walking their dogs. But soon, whispers traveled like wildfire. Did you hear? Can you believe it? The neighborhood grapevine was alive with speculation. I watched from my window. It was a curious thing, this dance of suburbia. Neighbors who once exchanged only cursory nods were now huddled at the edges of their driveways. Conspiratorial looks plastered on their faces. The air was thick with intrigue, the suburban calm disrupted by the silent war waging beneath our feet. The HOA President, Mr. Thompson, had grown increasingly uneasy. His perfectly manicured lawn next door, a green sea of uniform blades, seemed to lose its luster, overshadowed by the revelation that had taken root in our small community. His eyes darted nervously whenever I stepped outside, and there was a stiffness in his wave that had not been there before. I held the envelope like a talisman, its contents burning a hole in my conscience. The DNA test results of Mr. Thompson's grass, a secret I had wielded with the precision of a surgeon, had sown seeds of doubt in the very order he had sought to maintain. The irony was delicious and bittersweet. In the days that followed, the neighborhood transformed. Some lawns grew wild, an act of silent rebellion. Others remained trimmed to perfection, their owners clinging to the old ways, fearful of change. The HOA's influence waned, its rules becoming little more than whispers in the wind. Tensions mounted like a summer storm. I felt it in the air, a crackling anticipation, each lightning bolt of confrontation a potential spark. It was exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure. Yet beneath the surface, a question gnawed at me. Had I gone too far? Was this victory or vengeance? The turning point came unexpectedly. Mrs. O'Hara, a gentle soul with a penchant for geraniums, approached me one afternoon. Her eyes were soft, yet resolute. She spoke with the weight of the community behind her, a single line that cut through the noise and struck at the heart. Was it worth it? And there it was, the crux of everything. I pondered the question long after she walked away, the scent of her flowers lingering in the air like a fading echo. I sought refuge in my garden, the one place where the chaos of the world seemed to pause. The plants, indifferent to human folly, grew noiselessly, thriving in their simplicity. I glanced at the envelope one last time, the weight of its contents a mere whisper. Now. In the end, it was not the grass nor the rules that shaped our community, but the connections between us, tenuous and fragile, yet infinitely precious. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the quiet rebellion of our lawns, I knew the answer. In the stillness of dusk, I let the envelope slip from my fingers. It fluttered to the ground, landing softly among the growing grass. A silent surrender, but perhaps also a beginning. As I approached the community center, the vibrant aroma of late spring blossoms mingled with the whisper of a breeze that ruffled the meticulously planned hedges lining the sidewalk. They stood like sentinels, ordered and silent, a testament to the HOA's obsession with aesthetics. Or perhaps a silent ode to the absurdity of our predicament. The air was thick with anticipation, an invisible thread tugging each resident toward what promised to be a memorable meeting. The room was crowded, a tapestry of curious faces, some worn with the weariness of relentless compliance, others alight with the thrill of impending revelation. For weeks, the community had buzzed with rumors, each one more colorful than the last, all stemming from the same mundane dispute. My lawn's height. Innocuous as grass, they said. But grass had roots that ran deeper than they'd imagined. And so, I had delved beneath the surface, unearthing secrets entwined in the very blades that made up our green carpets. The DNA results had arrived in a crisp, white envelope, as unassuming as the act of opening it. Yet within lay a web spun with intricate irony. The HOA President, Harold, who had wielded bylaws like a scepter, stood exposed as the ultimate violator. His lawn, a verdant spectacle, was an imported mosaic of grasses banned by the same rules he'd weaponized against me. No need for fanfare. I simply stood, the envelope in hand, feeling its weight shift the balance of power in that room. Harold's face was a canvas painted with hues of disbelief and indignation, then washed over with a realization that his reign was crumbling. It was a slow unfurling, an ironic undoing, a man conquered by the very thing he had upheld. A murmur rippled through the crowd, a living entity that swelled and contracted as whispers turned to understanding. Irony, like a well-timed punchline, landed squarely amidst us, leaving an echo that would resonate long after this meeting dissolved into memory. For a moment, time seemed to halt, the gravity of the situation pinning everyone in their seats, except for Harold, who had gone pale, his confidence wilting like a neglected orchid under scrutiny. Karen, whose accusations had lit the fuse of this entire spectacle, sat silent, sidelined by her own machinations. Her eyes, once sharp with righteous fervor, now scanned the room, seeking an ally among those she had alienated. But the tide had turned, and she was now adrift in its wake. There was no need for words. The evidence spoke for itself, a silent testament to the folly of using power without conscience. My lawn remained, its height a testament to resilience against arbitrary tyranny. And in that silent defiance, the community found a flicker of renewal, a chance to redefine its values beyond the confines of a rulebook. The meeting adjourned with the quiet shuffle of feet and the soft murmur of renewed camaraderie. As the crowd dispersed, I lingered for a moment, savoring the quiet victory. The air felt lighter, the tension that had loomed for months dissipating like morning mist, leaving behind a community once divided but now finding its way back together. And so, Life in our little corner of suburbia resumed, the grass still growing, as was the understanding that sometimes the smallest battles yield the greatest change.